Okay, we're ready to go again. And I have to make an announcement for those that weren't here the first day. They said people have been asking about Doris and Aaron Abramson, who were supposed to be doing theirs at this time. So I thought most people knew what happened with them. Aaron had had a stroke, and this was when I first brought him out here 2 years ago when we published his books, and Doris had to help him learn how to speak again, and he really was so depressed, he was just like he was dying. And when we published his book and brought him back, that just being here was a new lease on life, and they said, he said, they still remember me, they want me, and it was bringing him back. And after that, he wanted to do everything that I would send him on. Well, we wanted him to come because even though he had destroyed 7,000 of his readings, some of you have had readings from him, there was just too much, he couldn't store them anymore, so he destroyed all of them. And people still email us saying, can they get a copy of their transcript or their tape? He doesn't have them anymore, and he doesn't do the readings anymore. But when he was speaking in Florida, he told my daughter, I've got this tape when I used to do the trips to the Akashic Records. Do you think you could use it? And Julie said, Aaron, don't you know what you're sitting on here? So we took it and reproduced it on a CD for them. And what they had planned to do was come and take everybody through the Akashic Records meditation. But just a few weeks ago, he called and said him and Doris both are very, very ill. He said it's like they're going downhill very fast. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go together. They have been together almost 60 years, and she's been there with him through so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they both go together. But he said, I think I should tell you now I can't come rather than wait till the last minute. We said, if you still want to come, you're welcome to come. So they aren't able to be here. And who's to say whether you wish they get well or not, because he's had a long life, he's in his 80s, and maybe they're ready to go. But rather than have you disappointed, we do have a replacement. Okay. And I'm going to let Joy introduce her because she knows her, and she's a local woman who will do essentially the same thing. So, okay, let's let Joy take it from here. But those of you who asked, I thought I better tell you what's happening with the Abramson.
Okay, I want to clear something up. I am not Dolores' daughter, not in this lifetime, okay? Most of you, if you've called the office, I'm usually the person that answers the phone, but I sound like Julia. So, but it's me. I usually, especially if it's after 12. But Spirit moves in interesting ways, and we came up with two people that we needed to replace, and Julia found Dale, and I know somebody who can do that. I know her name's Marilyn Harper. She can do that. She's in the Branson, Missouri area. She's close. She can do this. And then, we're working on it. We're working on it. And every time Julia would walk past my desk, I'd say, Marilyn Harper. Marilyn Harper. Marilyn Harper, she can do this. And so finally she says, get me her number. I'm going to call her. I'll call her. I've known Marilyn for about a year. I studied quantum touch with her. It was a phenomenal experience. I've heard her speak in church. It was incredible. I've been to her channelings, and it was wonderful. I just can't say enough about her. If you've had the opportunity to speak with her, you know without me telling you she has an incredible lightness of being that is just very unique. And I know beyond a shadow of any doubt you will enjoy this. And I'll give you a few announcements. There will be the guided meditation. If you need to leave the room, when you return, if it says meditation in progress, please do not come back in, because we want everyone to get the most out of the experience. doors opening and closing don't lend themselves to that. So, so if you need to go out, that's understandable, but please take everybody else into consideration. We'll take the sign down when the meditation's over, but I will turn the cell phones off, please. That can be, some of them have really neat chimes, but that really doesn't work either. So, because we want everybody to enjoy this. And if you've read Marilyn's biography in the program, this is an incredible woman. But I'll let her tell you about that, because all I know is what I've seen, and what I've seen is incredible. So, with no further delay, Marilyn Harper.
Thank you so much. Woohoo! Good morning. Welcome. Aren't we having a fabulous time? I mean, Dolores Cannon, I met her several years ago, and she looks younger than she did 10 years ago. I want the secret. And while I'm walking around just a little bit, I've had so many people comment, I would rather have you listening to me than looking at my scarf. My Aunt Clarice makes them, and she only makes them for people that she loves. So, but you can buy the yarn at Michael's. So, and I know that it might surprise you that if I step up here, so I'm going to warn you ahead of time, I am going to step up on the podium, or on the platform, not on the podium. Well, you never know. Everything is possible. I have been known to walk on chairs. But since all the chairs in the front row are taken, we'll step on the platform instead. And the reason is because if you haven't noticed, we're all at the same level. I'm as tall as you are, and y'all are sitting down. So, this way. Da-da-da-da. I don't know which is more important, for you to see me or for me to see you. But I do know that I'm an activator, and I activate inside of people, inside their structure, whatever needs to be activated for their own highest good, whatever will take them to the next level of their divinity. So, you are activated. When Julia called me, I have to say I was just a little bit intimidated, because I haven't finished my book yet. You'll be the first to know, or hopefully Dolores will be the first to know. Is that a plug? Yeah. But I do have 6 CDs, and they came from a class that I've been directed to facilitate. In my meditation every day, I got the information to facilitate a class called Practical Mysticism. My first response is, what the heck is that? And my second response is, I'm supposed to facilitate or teach what I do and how I do it. And then I thought, I don't know what that is. I don't know how I do what I do. But anybody who takes the class gets a download from their own guidance system, from their perspective, for their use. And I'm teaching one next Sunday at Unity of Fayetteville. Commercial number 1. No. The interesting thing is, when we think about practical mysticism, we have to look into the dictionary definition to see exactly what mysticism is, so we're all kind of on the same page. Now, I'm sure all of you are aware that mysticism is the connection to the divine. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, it says, the experience of communion as described by mystics. I hate it when they use the word in the definition. I mean, come on. But it is a belief in the existence that goes beyond perceptual or intellectual appearances. Oh, I can do that. You can too. And it's the central connection directly, consciously, and intentionally communicating with the ultimate reality, the divine source, God. Now, whatever you call your divine source, I don't care. You can call that source of all that is all inside here and all inside there, whatever you want. They're also all outside here. That ultimate reality. God is a limiting term for me, but I don't have a better one. I thought of God-I, it makes it plural. But, like alumni, but nobody gets it. See? Then you've got mystic. A mystic is a person who claims or connects with the ultimate reality. And I'm like, I'm a mystic. I'm a practical mystic. Practical. Ordinary. Useful. Extraordinary. Extraordinarily useful. The way I look at things, you ought to be able to get to the bottom line. That's fine to do all this airy-fairy, woo-woo stuff, but how can I apply it to my everyday workday, huh? How can I use it? How can it make me money? How can I live in this existence and be a spiritual leader and teacher and still live my own truth and be in integrity? That's the practical part. So that's what we're here today to do, is to become practical mystics. So I hope I give you absolutely everything you're looking for and more. And if not, they will. Did you feel the temperature in the room shift? It's like, or is it just me? Oh, power surge. So then we are going to take a journey into the Akashic Records. Now, how many of you have connected with the Akashic Records before? So it won't be a new experience for many of you. For those of you that have never connected with the Akashic Records, it's going to be fun. It's a fun journey. It's a fun trip. When I lead meditations, I basically take you on the journey that I see or sense. I've been a healer and a teacher I've been a healer for about 12 years. I've been a teacher since I was 2. But I really connect with the beings in a little different fashion because I stopped being able to read about 12 years ago. And so when I got into this business, I started buying everybody's book so I could learn how to do it. And so I looked like I was reading Hebrew. I couldn't read the newspaper for several weeks. And so I had to develop my own technique and my own style. And now they're telling me I can write a book about that. Woohoo! So you all know what the Akashic Records are. Well, let me give you a definition of the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records are an imprint of every thought, every word, every deed, every action, every experience that each soul in the universal galaxies has in a central storage location. Ooh-wee. I mean, that is big stuff. And there is a central location. I tried to print off a lot of facts and figures about the Akashic Records, but as you can see, somebody Akashically took them out. So I get to wing it. The Akashic Records, it's like the DNA of the universe. It is like, y'all accept the premise of past life, present life, future life. Anybody here not? Okay, good. Otherwise, we'd have to have a little talk. So when I mention the lifetime that you had in 1642, just bring it back to your own childhood in this life. So in the Akashic Records, what that is this massive storage facility that brings everything into that case of reality. Everything down to a look, a feel, a sense, a smell that you can read or experience, that you can see or acknowledge, that is only there for your own personal highest good. Now, is that not cool or what? Now, when I connect to the Akashic Records, as I do, and you know, Akashic, whatever. Tomato, I'm from Missouri, it's Akashic. Yes. A-K-A-S-H-I-C. Akashic. Record. R-E. Sorry. We're all in here together if you haven't noticed. So the Akashic Records, Akasha is actually the word that is based on universal life force record, universal energy. I actually looked that up and I wanted to see if I could read that part because I wanted to give you the correct information. Oh, I'm right. Energetic substance from which all life is formed. Cool, huh? Energetic substance from which all life is formed. Now, when I connect to the Akashic Records, and if you've ever had a session with me, I connect to the Akashic Records. That's why when Julie said that, Julie or Julia? I thought so. When Julia said, this is what the Abramsons did, I thought, well, I do that too. So that works. And I've heard them speak, and they are amazing, amazing. And we honor them with their challenges and wish them all that is goodness and health and wealth. But in the Akashic Records, when I connect with them, what I physically see may not be the same thing that you physically see. And that's okay. I see an endless record book that is kind of like Harry Potter's book, that when you turn the page appears. And it goes, even though the book is, you know, this deep and this wide, it goes on forever, obviously. So that's kind of what I see. You might think, well, now why do we need to connect to the Akashic Records? Why do we need to connect with our guidance system or whatever? Excuse me?
Because we don't remember past lives.
Exactly, because when you came into this existence, all that was kind of taken away, except for some of the kids that are coming in now. And that's because you get to start afresh, and you get to learn what you need to learn in this life, so you can go on to the next or ascend to that ultimate. And so you can be side by side all the time and become one of the guides. The past lives, the only reason that you would want to connect with that, in my opinion, which I have to say, my opinion doesn't really have anything to do with the truth or reality. It's just my opinion. So please put on your BS detectors. Your detectors, so you can put it through your discernment as well. But the only reason to connect with a past life, a present life, or a future life is to find something that is affecting you now and then release it. Let's say that you're addicted to crossword puzzles. Anybody here addicted to crossword puzzles? It just came in, I heard you. And you can't work, you can't talk, you can't hardly eat because you're doing crossword puzzles all the time. Well, in the Akashic Records, you can connect to the lifetime where you invented crossword puzzles, or maybe that somebody else stole. So you didn't get credit for it. So now you need to feel the need to do them, even though you may not know why. So when you connect to that lifetime that is affecting you now, then you release it. Say you always select a partner that is abusive. Or say you always have specific issues to deal with your partner. You know, I do a past life crossing where you can take your lifetime and your partner's lifetime and cross the most significant lifetimes to see what it is that you're looking to do in this lifetime. Did you figure that? Did you follow that? Okay, good. And then you can do it and go on, because the whole idea is about ascension. The whole idea is to get it. So we don't necessarily have to come back here on earth, even though we love the earth. But it's nice to ascend. Another reason to connect with the Akashic Records, or let me give you a little advice, is don't take it personally. If you go back into the 1100 BC or AD or whatever, and you find out that the spouse or best friend that you have now, because you all know we travel in the same circles, murdered you, don't take it personally. I mean, don't take it you probably did the same thing to them the lifetime before, so karma can be hell. Oh, good. Since there is no hell. So trust that you're given this information for your highest good, that your joy is only going to come out of it. Now, we're going to do a meditation, and when we do the meditation, if you go up to the storage facility with the Akashic Records, where it is located, and you do not feel like you choose to go inside, that's okay, you don't have to. You can be right where you are. We're going to bring your guides in, and your angels in, and your teachers in for each person in this room. I mean, I've never led a meditation for so many people. When you gather people together and meditate, did you know that the energy used to be magnified by 12 times 12? So if you have 12 people, that's the same thing as the energy of 144, thank you, 144 people. Well, now, because of the increased energies of the planet, when you gather together and meditate, you magnify that energy a minimum of 44 times, and in some instances, 144 times. So this is going to be really big energy that we're going to hold. But we'll bring in your guides, your angels, your teachers. We'll bring them directly before you. So they will speak to you. You will be able to identify them. If you haven't before, you will be now. You'll see them. We'll anchor their voice somewhere in your body, so you'll always be able to recognize them. And then we'll go on this journey together. Is that okay? So, let me get a little drink of water. And before you all get out of your bodies, I have 6 CDs, one of which, Connection, is the first meditation I did, which is this meditation to the Practical Mysticism class. I recorded it live. I work with a composer in Branson. He recorded the music in one setting, which a composer, if you know any composers, they don't happen. And he never changed a note. When he came back from the first meditation music, he was translucent. He's an ET, but he was translucent. I could see the bookshelf between him, through him. I have Inner Light, which is anchoring the source energy within your cells, within your body, physically, and intentionally setting the divine path intention in each organ and each part of your body. Communion is leading you into an automatic writing meditation for automatic writing, and Rainscape is a magnificent live recorded thunderstorm that is pretty cool. So, in the commercial. Okay, so take a deep breath. Settle yourself. If you have things on your lap, put them off. Just relax. If it's comfortable for you to reach the floor, put your feet on the floor. If they dangle, just swing them. I deliberately clear and seal the space on the north, the south, the east, the west, the ceiling and the floor, so that only beings from the light can enter. I deliberately invoke the presence of each of our master guides, teachers, and angels to be present and receptive to us. I ask that each person in this room become a divine channel of the Holy Spirit and the cosmic Christ consciousness. I ask that all information, releasement, and healing be for the highest good of each person in this room. I ask that all information, releasement, and healing be free and clear of our own personal belief systems and paradigms, so the information will be clear, concise, and succinct, and with the highest degree of integrity. I ask to open up the Akashic records so we can see past, present, and future. Take a deep breath. We're going to open up the foot chakras, and we're going to take a deep breath, and we're just going to send our energy all the way down into the earth and anchor our energy at the center of the earth. Good. Now we're going to take another deep breath, and we're going to bring that energy up from the center of the earth. And we're just going to surround ourselves with love and appreciation for ourselves, for the earth, and for all levels of our oversoul or guidance system. Now we're going to open up the crown chakra, and we're going to take another deep breath, and we're going to send our energy all the way up to the highest level of our oversoul, our guidance system, and we're just going to rest there. As we are there, we see before us this amazing walkway of stones that are glistening in the light. And we just know that they're ours to walk on. And they're so beautiful, they're iridescent. And as we step forward, we feel our dimensional, vibrational level rising. And it is so beautiful. As we look around, we see the light sources changing and flowing almost like waves. As we get to the top of this trail of stones, we feel ourselves lying back into the most beautiful meadow. And we feel that nice grass and the glistening air, and the flowers are all around. And in the distance, we see the presence of beings. And we know that there are angels, our guardian angels, our guides, our those that love us and are always, always with us. And they're coming closer. And we can feel their presence as they enter our energy field. And we breathe into them. Feel them touch us and pat us and tell us how much they love us and how proud they are of us. And we just feel their love emanating throughout our bodies. And they're whispering to us and patting our shoulders. And our primary angel, our guardian, steps directly in front of us, and we look into their eyes, and we feel that love like we have never felt before. It's almost electrical. And we experience their information. It's like we can hear with our hands or hear with the cells of our body their words within us. And when they speak to us, we anchor that vibration into our bodies, into our cells, so we can always recognize their voice, their messages, their love, removing all doubt. And we breathe into that. Their messages, and we know that they're there for our own highest good. And they seem to be motioning us to move. And once again, we see this beautiful pathway leading up, and yet we don't seem to be using our feet to walk upon it. And all of our teachers and guides are all around us, and we feel ourselves being lifted and lifted up. And as we're lifted up, we feel so safe and so secure. And that total energy and blessing of love of our guides all around us, holding us, cradling us in their hands and in their arms, and lifting us up higher and higher into the highest vibrational frequency that we can tolerate. When we look around, we see the most magnificent lights, the galaxy laid out before us. And we look down and we see the earth off into the distance. And we just send that earth love. And as we breathe into that love, Once again, we feel our guides and angels raising us higher and higher. And we realize that there's a magnificent structure before us, a great temple, a hall, if you would. And our guardian angel and our guides are wanting us to walk through the huge doors of this structure. And we breathe into it, and we do. And before us, this massive, beautiful building that doesn't seem to have an end or a beginning. In front of us, we see a cylinder of golden light opening onto a book or a record of some sort. And our guides on either side of us, our angel takes us by the arm and escorts us up to the Akashic records. And they are so beautiful. And as the pages seem to turn on their own, we bring each one of us to the most significant lifetime, past, present, or future, that is affecting us right now. That may be in our highest good to learn from and release, or that may bring us our highest joy. We come to that record so we can see it and experience it. And as we do, we don't experience the emotion of that life. Instead, we look at it like a movie on a big screen TV. And we don't experience the pain, but instead we watch the players, knowing which players we are and which players are other people that we have encountered in this lifetime that we're living now, to see how their influence then has affected us today. And we watch them, and we know that they were only doing what they thought right, just as you were. So please, with the safety of your guides all around you, watch that movie of your life and see what it is that you are to learn, what it is that you're to understand, so you can release that pattern, that device, that addiction, that pain in this life that you're living now. So just watch and learn. Breathe into it. You know you're safe. You know this is information for your highest joy. Your guides will never leave you. Know that the blessing of rain is good. It washes away the past. It washes all things that no longer serve our highest good, our highest joy. As we breathe into any other messages that the Akashic Records has for us, we seem to feel our DNA structure changing, enhancing, growing, expanding, raising our intuitive guidance, raising our frequency and vibration for our own highest joy. And as we look into the faces of our guides and angels, they seem to nod at us and say, "This is good. This is good. Now you know." Listen to their voices. And as we turn to exit the great hall, the temple, there's little cherubs and little fairy angels or something all around us, being so happy that we came to visit them today, and asking us to please, please come back. They're so joyful. We can feel them, the moistness as they kiss us on our cheeks. And our guides walk with us back out of the chamber. And we seem to be in the clouds. And they're billowing back and forth in all the beauty and joy of the clouds. And yet we're on a firm foundation. And our angels are right there with us, as they always are. And we move forward. Knowing all that we have known and seen in the Akashic Records, we step forward ever so gently, and we see that amazing pathway of stones glistening in the sunlight reappear. Before us, and with our guides and angels, we walk down those steps of stones glistening with purple and green and yellow and orange and indigo and violet and iridescent white light of love. And we see the earth again off in the distance. And we send the earth love. And as we breathe, we realize that our guides are here on either side of us, helping us settle back into our bodies. anchoring our energy firmly on our divine path, focused, created, expanded, and we're aware of those beings around us that are our guides. Our primary angel speaks to us again so as to remind us of that vibration the next time they speak to us. And we feel ourselves in our bodies and the presence of this room. And we are beginning to feel the beings around us in physical bodies. We know that we have been on a divine journey, a blessed journey for our own highest joy. And we will take this information and we will use it for our highest good and the highest good of all. And when we are physically back in our bodies, relax, come to the present, and open your eyes. Woohoo. So, how was that journey? Good. Does anybody want to share their, I'm awful hot here. I know, I'm always hot. That's right. Does anybody want to share their journey, a little bit about what they saw, thought, heard, experienced, share anything at all? Yes, there's one back here. There's a microphone somewhere. What? I know, time is calling, but the good thing is you've been on this journey. We've got it recorded. I've got it recorded. You can go again. And I recommend going often because we all have lots of lifetimes that we get the opportunity to learn from. But I understand not wanting to come back. Yes, can we get a microphone right here?
Okay, is this on?
Here. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to share something with everyone that I never realized. In my particular faith, you take no lives, you take, everything is precious. Mm-hmm. But I have MS, and at one time, I didn't think I was going to survive. But I never had gone to the records to find out why I got blessed with this. And so, as you guided us through, I decided, okay, why not? So I did, and I asked a question for me to go to the reason that I have MS. And it was because I took a life. I was a paramedic, and I had a patient that I had known for several years, been transferring him back and forth to Muskogee, had Lou Gehrig's. And he had gotten to the point that all he had left to move was his eyes. And before he had gotten to the point that he couldn't talk, he asked me if I would help him end his life. And he had a trach, and I had to suction him like every 10 minutes. And it was really bad, and he was a brilliant man. I knew him whenever he was, perfectly healthy. So.
And this is past life or present life?
This is present life.
Present life, okay.
I was a paramedic. And I never put the two and two together until I just reached this point today. And I believe that what goes around comes around 3 times. So when I didn't suction him, I just placed my finger over the hole, and he passed very quietly, and I saw, his soul leave. And, if that makes me a murderer, that's who I am. But the point being, shortly after that, I paid the karmic price by myself almost dying, and then I guess because of whatever, the spirits decided they'd let me have another chance to help humanity. Now, what I did was wrong, and I knew it, but I did it for him because he'd asked me to. So now I have discovered something that I've been wondering about all this time.
Good.
That why me, and so now I know, and I feel so much better to know this, and I feel like I've paid up my score now. But
Excellent.
Pardon me? Yes, I just did.
Saw in the past life.
I didn't even get back there. I've got too many.
Your
of those.
Akashic records went to this lifetime. Absolutely.
I asked for that. I wanted to know why me.
And it's all there. In the
and
Akashic
it
records.
was. And I paid the price for doing something that he asked me to do, but I didn't feel I wanted to do it. I mean, I don't even kill ants.
Right. So keep in mind that the Akashic records,
they
know what happened this morning.
Yeah.
So,
they know every bad word you say.
Good. Uh-oh. Anybody else want to share their experience? Certainly. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share their sight, their vision, their experience?
Hi, I'm Mallory. I have gone through something today to be freed of an emotional disturbance about my recent life or so. But I asked, what appeared to me was my guardian angel, who I saw when I was about 7 years old, a beautiful golden lady. I didn't know for years who she was. She was small then, about 18 inches high, and many years later in London, a man I was with who was psychic in a restaurant, he saw this being of light that had grown up to full size. I was grown up, and so my guardian angel was grown up. Beautiful golden lady of light. And then more recently, I've learned to be aware of her presence, to talk to her, communicate, to listen. And so today, that was who came, and I asked her why, what was kind of wrong with me and why I'd had this disturbance that I had to get over today. And she said, in past lives, I had always wanted to help other people, but by controlling them, I was going to help them my way. I was going to do things for people in various lives, and maybe they would turn away. It wouldn't work out the way I wanted, and it was pure ego, which we've had lectures on here this week. And so the ego I became aware of recently through meditation, and the ego, I turned my back on the ego, and just recently, in the last few days, I have turned forward. And he said, I am now going forward in a very good way and will be very successful because I've let go of the past. So it was very encouraging.
Good. Everything is recorded, everything. And we can go into whatever we need to, whatever's in our highest joy.
I stayed in the present life, and I found it very relaxing. Your meditation was great.
Thank you.
What I thought about was my youngest son. I have 2 sons, and it's always been very, very easy to love my older son. When I had him, I just, there was not a lot of stress, and I just fell in love with that baby, that baby boy. And he and I have always had really good communication. By the time, and I, when I was young, came out of an alcoholic home, all that kind of business, and hadn't had any therapy or really spiritual experiences as of yet, as I was raising a young family. So when my second son was born, first of all, my husband was mad at me because I was pregnant, and, yada, yada, yada. So anyway, he and I are working on a lot of healing right now with one another.
Good.
And we've talked a lot, and I still had the feeling that I still needed to just really go further, even with that feeling, because sometimes I still feel guilty. I still have a feeling of guilt. And
Did that raise when you connected to the Akashic Records?
I felt like when I hold his little daughter now, she and our little hearts connect when I'm rocking her. And I felt like I had him back when he was a little baby. And I brought him back with me in my heart. And he lives, but I really made a real heart connection, even deeper than it has been.
It's beautiful. It's so wonderful. And I have to say, when all of your guides, I was up here, I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens on the tape. When all of your guides came in, and they were angels and guides, and the whole room was full, the amount of love that was coming over me as being a part of the experience nearly knocked me over. I had tears coming down my eyes, and it's like, it was so phenomenal. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say that when you went to the part about the DNA,
A little bit.
a little farther down, huh? Okay. When you went to the part about the DNA, I had an experience that was absolutely fabulous. Lights went off and energy went flying out and everything, and I really felt like I just took a fast trip to the 144th dimension. So it felt so good, and it cleared all the things that I've been working on lately. So this is what we really needed to do to have me go forward as well, and where I'm going to help the other people. So thank you.
How cool is that? I saw a vision before my eyes that was, I was climbing up on my parents' bed, and I couldn't get up. I was 2 in this lifetime. And my dad said, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. Get on down. You can't do that. And that's been a theme in my life. It stopped me up until now. I let it go, though. Woohoo!
When we were doing the meditation, I walk with 2 guides. There's always these 2 huge white guides beside me, and they don't have wings. I never call them angels. These are ancient ones.
Right.
And it has a lot to do with my Indian tradition, but they are ancient ones that always are with me. And we went to the records. I said, why are we going there? I've been there so many times. And I've worked there and I've helped people. And then when he was talking, so much of what he had said, I had been in those libraries in my lifetimes doing the research. In this life, my degrees and everything are in journalism and law and business and whatever. And I did research and analysis and writing on international defense projects. And so it was always this pattern. But the one thing that I did not get an answer to, and because I fell asleep when I asked that question, was why I got breast cancer in this lifetime. And they were telling me, and I fell asleep. And I have no idea.
So I guess you'll have to go back. You know, a lot of times we see, the intention is held that we see all that is in for our highest good, all that is in for our highest joy. So something in your energy is protecting you because you're not quite ready to see the whole life plan yet. So visit it again. Each time you'll get more. Each time you'll get exactly what is in your highest good to get. I don't need this anymore. So they can turn it down from back there. We could talk and tell our stories for hours. I recommend you do that, but not today. You know, thank you all very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Namaste.